Welcome everybody, my name is François Letarte and this is my channel JDR-D30, a channel about tabletop role-playing games. Today the video I'm gonna present to you is kind of a follow-up of my RPGs that moved me forward and kind of an introduction to my AFF walkthrough. The present video is called Auditioning RPGs, or why AFF. AFF stands for Advanced Fighting Fantasy. The video will be about the journey I took to finally get Advanced Fighting Fantasy as my main game right now. Because I had special needs, throughout the years, your style can be can be more subtle, more defined, and you need something sometime, and you have to search for it. So I have a list of role-playing games I've considered to play before getting to the final result of Advanced Fighting Fantasy. Well, it's kind of an audition. Every game I will present was kind of audition, like like in American Idol, the singers, kind of. Before getting to that, just want to thank Mr. Sean Connors, the Outsider 68, for his interview video, in which he invited us to make a video, respond to his questions as kind of an interview, and it was very a rich experience. I've discovered new channels through that, and yeah, I've got some videos they were talking about me, so I was very grateful of that. And yeah, many shoutouts were made. I discovered many new channels through that, and personally, if I had made a shout out, I didn't make that directly in my video, but if I would have made one, it would have been difficult because every channel deserves a shout out. So there's something in every one of them. Getting back to auditioning RPGs. 10 years ago, I was into Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition. That was a time where I had many free times in my hand. I was single and I didn't have children, so I could put back then I had time to put in role-playing games. And Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition is quite a crunchy game. So for me, in order to run the game, I had to study it every week. Every week I was reading the book and reading some parts of it just to make it flow better, just to make the crunch feels smooth. So the game was very time consuming, and so it was okay back then. But at some point, it was kind of 8 years ago, I got back to school. I wanted to change my career, so did have less time suddenly, and for that I had to put Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition aside, and so I've stopped role playing for some time back then, just to concentrate myself into studying for my new career. Then, after a while, well, I got a girlfriend. We began to have children, and yeah, I wanted to get back to the game, so I had to figure out a way to get back, because Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition wasn't a viable option at first, because I remembered how much time I had to put into getting my hands over the rules, and I didn't have that time anymore. I had, in fact, almost no time, no free time to get a game. So I wanted to have a game that was less time consuming, and that's where my search began. At first, I didn't know exactly what I wanted. The only thing I knew is that I had no time. And throughout the games I present, I've discovered many things on what I was needing, what were my needs. Um, when I began into gaming, I began a game of Star Wars using D6 system. Well, for me, D6 system was an easy choice at first because it was the system I played the most. I know the system, I've been through it, I own many games using the D6 system. It's still to date one of my favorite systems ever. And I begin to a kind of Star Wars game, a very special setting I created for Star Wars. Maybe someday I will tell you about the setting because I was very proud of it, and I will get back to this setting in the future because it was a special kind of a survivor kind of Star Wars. Survivor or Lost. Yeah, the Lost series. I was confused. So, so the easiness of D6 system was perfect, but there was something that was not, that did like less and break my enjoyment of it. It's because I had to put work to house rule the games. D6 system has been through so much that the rules as they are, I wanted to have something else. So I had to put time into making house rules, and I didn't have the time. And in game, I didn't want to work out house rules while we were playing because I wanted the story to shine first. So I wasn't uh, that much comfortable with D6 system at that time. I needed, uh, a rules-like game, but I needed a game that needed less house rulings. It's a kind of game that has it all, almost, and that I was happy with what was presented in the game. So I got, so that was the D6 system. Yes. And I forgot to show you D&D 3rd edition. You already know it. After I got into a basic role-playing system game, fantasy game. Okay, back to my presentation with my hand. Basic role-playing is a system I do love. It's a very good game. That was the main thing about it, and I had some experience with it. But while playing, there was something missing for my taste at that time. It was the flavor of a game. Basic role playing as it's a very generic system. Yes, there's Call of Cthulhu, which has lots of flavor, but you know, I wanted to do some fantasy stuff, and for this fantasy stuff, for the flavor, you know, maybe I had to dig a little more to get it. So yeah, I did a couple of games, but that wasn't a game I decided that would have been the game I would keep for a long time. I will get back to basic role playing in the future for sure, but that wasn't what I was searching for. So something more flavorish I needed. For flavor, I decided to get a try to basic Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, it crossed my mind to just get back to the roots, the old school feel. Yeah, because sometimes when I was lost into role-playing games, the old school Dungeons and Dragons was something I was coming back, and I did give it a try. But I have from the start, or from the first days I have role played, I have always had that love-hate relationship with Dungeons and Dragons. Many aspects of it I do love, but while playing, some other aspects, bruise my enjoyment, and that came back. And if I wanted to fix that, it needed again a lot of time. But something I did learn from retrying D&D, and I even tried to mix D&D and AD&D together. Something I did uh, I did learn there is that I wanted something old school. Yeah, rules. So for now, something with flavor, old school, rules light, and with rules that needed not much house ruling from my part. That's what I was searching for. I began to do that.